Welcome. We'll call our regular meeting for the month of April to order. We have everyone here except Ms. Watts could not be with us tonight. We appreciate everybody that is here, whether you're here in person or the folks that might be joining us online. We appreciate the time that you've taken to be here and for your interest in and support of Midway Independent School District and its students. For those of you that might be getting a call that you don't know about, it's a good time to do something with your phone so you're not embarrassed like I frequently am. Just one thing to always remember at our board meetings, the board's role is to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent and the other administration and staff, to approve budgets, which we'll be doing here in a couple of months, set tax rates, approve contracts, which we've got a number of those tonight, approve personnel recommendations, and make policy for the district. The board is not here to make management decisions. We don't do that. Management's the responsibility of the superintendent and his staff. One of the things that we started doing that we do before each meeting to help everybody center and focus is the district mission statement followed by a moment of silence. So the district mission statement: Midway ISD will maximize individual potential within a learner-centered and supportive environment, prepare students to excel in a global society. That's what we're about. Moment of silence. I'd ask that each of you take a time here with me for just a brief pause for prayer, meditation, reflection, or contemplation. Thank you. The first significant item that other folks participate in besides just me talking is always the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight we are delighted to have Dr. Clint Glazeman, principal of Castleman Creek Elementary, with how many students, Clint?
We've got 8 students tonight.
8 students. You're going to
Yes,
tell
sir.
us about them.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first, President Russick and MISD board members, and then Dr. Allen, and then esteemed parents and guests and community members. It's my pleasure as the proud principal of Castleman Creek Elementary to introduce just these 8 outstanding students that we have here tonight who have served our campus this year as our morning greeters. And so as the principal, one of my top priorities is just to ensure that every student's first interaction entering to the building is a positive one, and these students have significantly contributed to achieving this goal throughout the year. We've got 2 drop-off lines, one in the back and one in the front, and these students have volunteered their time. They've demonstrated leadership, and they've served as role models to their young peers and grade level peers alike. We do take a break in the wintertime when it's freezing cold outside, so they do in the middle when it's like 23 degrees outside. We don't ask them to do that. But their assistance has been invaluable, and I'm just extremely proud and grateful of them. And so please allow me to introduce Damari Brown, Lainey Carroll, Michael Jones, Serenity Moyer, Ayush Patel, Jaden Slaughter, Kenzie Smith, and Elijah Trejo. And then would y'all please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Elijah. We're almost there.
Good job, kids.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Good job.
Good job. Our next item on the agenda for the evening is recognition. Let me just say, we got a lot of folks here. We got a lot of great recognition tonight. What I would ask is, if you're here for recognition, just wait till it's over. We'll take a brief pause, give everybody a chance to leave at that time. Just out of courtesy and respect, we ask folks if they would do that. And Colin Witt is going to assist in handing out certificates tonight with recognition, and as we do now, and I like it, our awareness days led off by the superintendent, Dr. Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Russick. I'm going to go through these awareness days. A lot of times these things sort of run from the mundane to the unknown. These hit a little close to home, so I might take a second or more two on it. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Be a neighbor to your neighbors and help them if they need help. I think that's all I'll say to that. Volunteer Appreciation Month. I'd like to just take this moment and talk about all the people who do not work for the district that make us great. By the way, they show up and volunteer and make a big difference. It might be worth noting, Mr. Russick, that board service is voluntary.
True.
National Assistant Principals Week. If there's a good principal, it's because there's an assistant principal holding them up. And so we can't do it without them. Paraprofessional Appreciation Week. If there's a good assistant principal, it's because the paraprofessional is holding them up. They would all tell you that. National School Librarian Day, and a day and time when librarians face different types of challenges, and I'm not sure they're as valued as they used to be. I'm thrilled that we still have librarians in Midway ISD. Texas Fruit and Vegetable Day. Almost say on that. Earth Day, which I find interesting given what happened on April 8th.
Yep. So
there you go. And then April 24th, Administrative Professional Days. I'd like to thank Ms. Wynn, amongst others, for being such great administrative professionals. With that, Mr. Russick, if I could go off script just a little bit, I'd like to talk a little more about Texas Fruit and Vegetable Day. Can I?
Absolutely.
All right. So it turns out that this evening, as folks were coming in, they were blessed with the culinary artistry of two of our students. I'd like to talk about that for just a moment. Aramark's Culinary Star Competition is a statewide competition for student nutrition teams. In 2024, competition took place in Minute Maid Park in Houston. Brooklyn Brannon, an 11th grader, and come on down when I call your name, there's no hiding. There she is. And 10th grader, Kaysen Copeman. These two young people won the Midway ISD unit competition and competed at the state competition on February 26th. The theme for this year's competition was Vegetarian Lunch Entree. Very fitting given the fact it's Texas Fruit and Vegetable Day on April the 5th. They had to showcase their creativity, culinary skills, and teamwork as they prepared, plated, and presented their menu. Students created recipes from a predetermined pantry list, which also used for their local competitions. A set of mystery ingredients were unveiled at the event, and the teams were required to incorporate selections into their recipe. These two young people right here are the ones who created all those scrumptious pre-game delights as you were coming in the door, and I think are a testament to what it means to be in a district that tries to help every student reach their individual potential. A school system of 8,800 kids, but designed to meet the needs of one, or in this case, two, so that they can show us all the great skills and abilities with which they've been gifted. So thank you, too, for the dinner this evening, and thank you so much for representing Midway at such an excellent level.
All right, next up on our recognition, middle school all-state choir. Where is Daryl? There he is. And let me just say something that I know Daryl's going to talk about. It is absolutely incredible how long Midway has been at a peak of excellence in this area. Daryl.
Yes, yeah, and you talk about some individual excellence. We've got some tonight. After successfully completing a statewide audition process, 5 Midway ISD middle school students have been named to the 2024 Texas Choral Directors All-State Choir members. Students selected for this top honor will perform with the Texas All-State Middle School Choir in San Antonio as a part of the TCDA convention that takes place in late July. From Midway Middle School, we have Jayla Stewart, Kylie Trevathan, Jaden Tolado, and I hope I get this right, Olivia Adams. And from River Valley Middle School, we have McKenna Gackle. All of our students represented tonight are, of course, taught by some exceptional teachers, and we have them with us this evening as well. Will Midway Middle School Head Director Kayla Torp come forward? And her assistant is Haeyoung Koo. And from River Valley Middle School, Adam Gilliland. And the assistant for River Valley, Lauren Escalante. And I'm going to throw one more in there, but I forget your last name. Derek, our student teacher, who come on up too.
All right, next up is PTA reflections. Daryl, is that you also? That's what I've got down on my list.
It might as well be. And I apologize if I butcher any names. 16 Midway ISD students were recognized at the state level of the PTA Reflections Contest. Each of these students submitted original works of art, including dance choreography, film production, literature, music composition, photography, and visual arts. And all of this in response to this year's contest theme, I am hopeful because works by these Midway students were selected from over 800 entries to be awarded at the state level. Although not all of our students are able to be here tonight, we still want to read all of their names so that they can be recognized. If I do call your name, come on up. Park Hill Elementary, Emery Davidson. From South Bosque Elementary, Sophie Braun. And Ren Daughtry. And James Lalani. And also from South Bosque, Keela McElroy. From Woodway Elementary, Roger Petter. And Willow Williams. From River Valley Middle School, Eden Flowers. And Brooklyn Hare. And Ava Lalani. And we have a few left from Midway High School, Lily Bowden. And Emma Balajan. Stacy Duong. Ava Frenzel. McKenna Potts. And finally, from Midway High School, Brazos Tankersley. And these are your state level PTA Reflections winners, and they're going to squeeze in for a big combined picture.
And our last recognition item is Best Communities for Music Education. Dr. Allen.
Yes, sir. So Midway ISD music programs have once again been honored with the Best Communities for Music Education Award, earning national recognition for the 16th consecutive year. The districts recognized by the NAM Foundation as Best Communities for Music Education demonstrate a commitment to ensuring music learning opportunities are available for every student as part of a well-rounded education starting in elementary and going through high school. As one of the top communities for music education in the country, Midway's recognition year after year is due to the ongoing support and dedication of students, teachers, administrators, parents, community members, and others who continue to show support for the Midway Fine Arts program. I asked that I be the one to be able to do this one because I want to say things about Daryl that he won't say about himself. And this isn't scripted. This is not me just talking to you. How long you been here, Daryl?
Since 2001.
Uh-huh. How many years is that?
A lot.
Yeah. If my math holds, it's 22-ish, okay, depending on when you start, August or whatever. That means for 16 years of the time that we've been under Daryl's leadership, either as Director of Bands or Director of Fine Arts, that we've earned this recognition. And I think that because Daryl works kind of quietly behind the scenes, literally, oftentimes in a light booth or sound booth or whatever, that his contribution to the music instruction in this community goes unnoticed. We would not be in the position we're in with 16 consecutive years as being recognized as one of the best music education communities in the country if it weren't for the steady hand and consistent supportive loyalty of Daryl Umhofer, not just to our students and to our parents and to our school district, but to making sure that we never lose sight of the importance of the arts. It kind of seems like we're fighting for a little bit of everything these days in pub ed. But if you don't believe in the power of the arts, where's Adam? Did he leave? He was in the last graduating class. I was high school principal, if I remember correct.
That's correct.
And was a great choral student. And now he's back teaching for us, inspiring another group of young people that you all just got to see for yourself. And so what fine arts education does is pay it forward in a very powerful way. And so, Daryl, this is a district-wide recognition, and we need to thank kids, students, and staff for all that. But, man, we can't do enough to thank you for that as well. So thank you for your effort in helping us achieve this level of excellence. It's one thing to be good. 16 years ago, we weren't 8,000 kids either. So sustained excellence while growing is a super big challenge for any industry, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. This also is a testament to the school board's support of all that we do and all that we ask for. So thank you.
Thank you. Let me get the certificate.
Now's that pause that I promised. That's not that doesn't mean you have to leave, but if you want to leave, this is your opportune time.
I want to take the time off. This is a good time. First time I did that, the first time I had to do that, I was so couldn't find the names and the sheets. Just means I have to work.
Yeah, I hadn't seen Adam since he was back. Just felt like nice
Yeah,
kid.
that was last time in class.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. His mom taught music in South Boston forever.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember.
She was in different schools, I think, too, but mostly in South Boston. Fowler is her last name. I texted Isabella that, exactly. Don't, Adam's working.
Okay, in a very, very stealthy manner, there's an agenda item buried in the last part of it about naming somebody as Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Services. We're going to move that up out of order. It's 8.D.1 and take that up next. And Dr. Allen.
Yes, sir. So, as you know, as the board knows, Dr. Aaron Pena went to serve as superintendent of BCISD, Burnett Consolidated Independent School District on April 1st. We became aware of that 21 days prior to that, and so we started the process of vetting and evaluating our job description for Assistant Superintendent for Administrative Services. We posted that position, and we interviewed 7 individuals. After the interview process, that consisted of 2 rounds. We interviewed 7. We brought back 2 for next round interviews. I'm recommending to the board that Paul Awful serve as the next Assistant Superintendent for Administrative Services in the Midway Independent School District. Many of you know this, but let me just talk you through Paul's career very briefly. He first came to Midway as the head baseball coach about 2008, 8 or 9, in 2009. He served in that capacity for several years and then went to serve as an assistant principal for Sarah Holland when River Valley was intermediate school. When Ms. Holland stepped down, he took the reins of that school and was principal of River Valley Intermediate, and then transitioned it to the middle school while at the same time overseeing the construction of the major renovations that occurred at that building. In addition to his service with Sarah, he also has been instrumental in helping develop some of our key leaders, one of whom is sitting about 2 seats to his immediate left, Chelsea now being the principal at Park Hill Elementary School. So he has shown a longevity. He has shown an ability to serve in different roles and at different levels. He served under a legend. Ms. Holland was kind of a big deal, and then was able to follow her successfully. And that's very difficult. You never want to be the person who replaces the legend. You want to be the person who replaces the person who replaced the legend. But Paul was able to navigate that very deftly. And then, like I said before, has established himself as a leader of leaders in growing Chelsea to the point that she's in her first year at Park Hill Elementary School, and they're having a great year there. So I make this recommendation with a lot of sobriety about what it means to be an assistant superintendent in a school district such as Midway, but also a lot of excitement about what the skill set and experience that Paul's going to bring to our district.
Not often I get a chance to correct you, Dr. Allen, but it's no recommendation. Under his contract, you have the authority to assign and reassign. So you're just telling the world what you've done.
Yes,
now.
sir.
Okay, very good. Board doesn't get to act on this. Congratulations, Paul. You got anything you want to say? Anybody you want to introduce, more importantly?
It's my family. She's here tonight. Katie Lou's a freshman at Auburn, so she's not here tonight. She better be studying. Our son's not here. He's in out-of-town golf tournament. So I'm just very grateful. Thank you for the confidence you put with me, Dr. Allen, and the board, and I'm ready to work.
Good deal. Thank you. We appreciate y'all being here.
So don't you need to come sit up here now? Isn't that?
No.
I think that's the seat where the assistant soup sits, sir. But I'm going to leave that up to somebody else.
I understand. You take your time. It'll land on you soon enough, ready or not.
Ease on into it.
Yeah.
All right, we have 2 information items. If any board member has a question on those, we'll take that up now. But if not, we'll move on to the monthly finance report.
Can I just say, I'm really thrilled as always to see our GT update and the great work that we're doing there. So appreciate Tiffany Brummett and her work in there.
Yeah, thank you, Colin. Wesley, monthly finance report, sir.
Yes, sir. So our financial report for the month ending March 31st, we'll go down and look at page 2 here of the report. No, I turned it on, yeah. Try again. So page 2, a look at our general fund revenues. The first line under local. So actually in Budget Amendment 24-13 in the consent agenda, that property tax amount is actually going to go down another $4 million. So really it was a 3-cent increase with a reduction of about $6.5 million in M&O taxes because of the state tax compression. And then under the state revenue line, down there in the middle, the per capita foundation, that 18 million, after that amendment's adopted, will go up to 22 million to make up for that $4 million loss. Page 3 of the report, kind of along the same lines, our cash balances. So typically, each successive line every year gets higher and higher because our budget gets bigger, and so we have more revenue. This year, if you'll notice, in February, March, our cash balances are actually a little lower than the year before. And that's because, kind of what I just mentioned, we're getting more state revenue now. It's a larger proportion, not the largest, but a larger proportion than last year. So our state payments come in October and August. You can see there in October, that orange line, the 24 line, was a little higher than past years. We got more state revenue in October. We'll be a little lower in February, March, even after we've collected about 98% of our taxes. But then in August, when we got our last state payment, we should see that cash balance go back up. And then page 8 of the report, take a quick look at our enrollment. So our total district enrollment at the beginning, of April the 1st, was 8,735, so 46 more students than this time last year. And also last Thursday, the demographic report, Mr. Templeton reported that we had 116 more students this year than last year, and that was at the snapshot date, which is the end of October. So if you look there, a few columns earlier, October 1st, we're at 109, November 1st, 121, so that's about that 116 at snapshot date, but that's actually decreased to 46 as the year has progressed. Page 12 of the report, give you an update on our general fund projection for the year, projecting a surplus of $727,000. That includes all adopted amendments so far for the year. Also, I mentioned Amendment 2413. There's also one for 24-14 for the teacher incentive allotment of about $615,000, I believe. And we'll accrue that revenue on this year's financials, but we'll actually get the payback from TEA next fall, and we'll pay it out in May next month. Any questions?
No, but I was just so relieved and happy to see that new surplus balance for the end of the year.
Yes, and also
Nice
a reminder,
change,
so
yes.
our idea is
Your penny pension's
to hit
paying
that internal service fund for about $1 million, and so really have probably a break-even budget for this year, so we don't have to hit that for the 25 budget. And speaking of the 25 budget, I know I spoke on it last week. In next month's meeting, we'll have an update and have everything ready to be posted for June, so that we can adopt the budget at the June board meeting. We'll have our certified values come in at the end of this month.
It's also worth noting that part of the reason we have that $725,000 surplus is because that change of the fiscal year to July 1, so it's
Yes.
a one-time
I know, but it looks
windfall.
good.
It looks great.
Makes me happy.
I'd like it like that every year, but yeah.
I'll take it.
Yes, ma'am.
Timing is good. We
Timing
can
is
use it.
excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. All right, if no questions for Wesley, thank you, Wesley. We'll move on to still money matters, compensation update. Ashley.
Thank you so much, President Russick. I am very excited to bring to you results of our most recent partnership with TASB, who has helped us do a pay maintenance on all of our compensation plans and plans that we're hoping to present to you for consideration later tonight as well. Just a reminder, this will be our third year partnering with TASB. 2 years ago, they worked on a salary and stipend study for us pretty extensively, and since that time, we have maintained a partnership with them each year through what we call a pay maintenance, and they look at our compensation plans. They compare those to market values. We look locally at school districts in our area, but we also look statewide at other districts that look similar to us, so that we can ensure that we are doing, we can ensure we're doing our best to be competitive in the areas of recruitment and retention for all of our employees and our pay categories. Not working? Okay. You'll be my clicker? Okay, thank you. Could you move it Forward one slide, please. Just a reminder, this partnership does align with our district goal to really focus on recruitment and retention efforts with our staff and to ensure that our staff are highly qualified. So we are definitely looking at competitive entry rates for staff, but also what are we doing for current staff to make sure that their pay is aligned to market value, and how do we do all of that while also attempting to control costs and work within our budget alignment. So if you'll advance, thank you. Just a quick snapshot here of the local market school districts that TASB compares us to. There are 17 here listed other than us. Most of those are going to be recognized as local McLennan County districts. There are a few outliers with Bryan ISD is up there, Hillsborough ISD, and Waxahachie. Looking at a couple outside of the Region 12 area just to sort of give some comparison. But we really focus on mobility between districts here in McLennan County. And so some of the numbers I will share with you tonight, we're looking at our nearby neighbors in taking into consideration, especially in our teacher salary range, but also in the areas of stipends and in other staff pay categories. So looking specifically at teacher market comparisons, midway salary, taking a look here at our broken down in 5-year increments, we're doing fairly well in our entry level with first-year teachers in our 0 to 5-year range. There are our very typical competitors that are coming in higher than us, like Belton, Waco ISD, Temple, Killeen, Copperas Cove. They're a little bit larger than us, and they do have some additional funding that helps to offset some of those costs, but we're holding our own fairly well there. Where we start to lose a little bit of ground with some additional local competitors is in that 10 to 20-year range, and most often what we see is very nearby local districts that are remaining competitive with teachers in that 10 and 15-year range specifically. So that is where we have spent some focus the last couple of years, you likely remember, and I'll remind us of what that looks like in a few slides as well. This is just another look at that teacher market comparison. We are the orange line in comparison to our local market median, the blue line. And you can see again there at the base at that 0-year salary area, we are doing fairly well collectively in comparison to local market. We did focus for our last couple of years on the 5 to 20-year experience range in our teacher scale. Our work with TASB, they've suggested for next year that we sort of bump that up a little bit to about the 8 to 23-year range in order to continue to meet needs. And I will say, in comparisons, we are building a projected pay range in anticipation of what our local districts are going to be doing as well, but we have no idea what they're going to be adopting at their meetings this spring. So some of this is looking at patterns of how they have given increases in the past and trying to remain competitive there. Just as a point of reference, for example, we did fairly well with our teachers last year. We gave them a 3% raise, and that was higher than many of our neighboring districts. Only a couple of them were higher than us. And so we can do our best to anticipate, but we'll never know until the true numbers hit when they release their salary scales. We also look at stipends. Specifically, these stipends represent stipends that our teachers receive, and we've compared with that same group of competitors within our market, and we're doing fairly well here. We give a stipend for master's degrees, doctorate degrees, and also some specific content area in the secondary math and science, for example, special education as well. So I've highlighted a couple of things here. Our secondary math and science, TASB recommended that we do look at that in the near future in order to remain competitive with our local market partners. But then one area where we're excelling, I've highlighted there in green for you, we're the only school district giving a stipend for teachers that receive national board certification. And if you'll recall, just a couple of months ago, we recognized an additional 8 teachers that received that. Our national board certified teachers are not only eligible for that stipend, but they're eligible for teacher incentive allotment, and they can receive additional funding through that. And so that is a real draw and support for the way we're helping our teachers work toward that national board certification if they're interested. And then also very few districts give a stipend for doctorate degrees, and these are teachers in the classroom that hold doctorate degrees that are eligible for that stipend, and we currently have 7 on staff.
Question. coaches? I don't see.
Yes, that's considered extracurricular, and we have maintained our alignment with the recommendation that when the TASB did the deep dive on the stipend study 2 years ago, and we maintain and adjust as we need there, but this was just a local comparison for stipends aligned to teachers, teaching classroom content areas specifically.
And that's the same answer for fine arts stipends as well?
Correct, correct. Those are looked at separately.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir. Okay, our other pay groups, we were just talking about teachers, and looking collectively here at our other pay groups, you can see both our central administration and campus administration in comparison to state and local market, looking also at our other professional employees, any of our clerical and technical employees, instructional support, and auxiliary. And so just to sort of acquaint you with what you're seeing here on the screen, the first column represents the average of our current employees and their pay to market. And so that is significant for us to see if overall are we collectively fairly aligned with our local market competitors and local districts. The second column is the midpoint, and that is important because when we talk about a general pay increase, we talk about a percentage of the midpoint. And one of the things that TASB helps us with in this pay maintenance is to ensure that our midpoints are competitive to the market value of other jobs of the same nature. So when we look at that second column, we want to see that we're working toward getting very close on that because that is valuable for our staff when we talk about raises and pay increases. The third column there is our pay grade minimum. So we're looking at the entry point into each pay grade and how that aligns to market. You'll see there I've highlighted our auxiliary pay grade minimum comparison there in orange. We have worked on this for several years, and it continues to be an area of focus for us. For example, last year, this category of employee, we had that tiered bonus approach, or general pay increase approach, and they received 4%. So we're finding ways to chip away at this, to reevaluate how we bring new employees in and how we continue to support our staff in this area so that we can close that gap a little bit and bring that up. This is just a snapshot of the last 5 years in the approach that you have supported in giving our staff pay increases. Thinking back to the 2019-2020 year, we did take a tiered approach to giving staff salary increases, and it's broken out there. We took a little bit of a different take on it by looking specifically at teachers in each category and dependent on their years. That was our first attempt at focusing on some of those middle years on the teacher scale. In 2020, 2021, we also did a tiered approach, but it was quite a bit lower than the previous year. And in 21-22, we went back up to just a standard 2% on all salary. It was at that point we then began to look at giving pay increases on that pay grade midpoint instead of on their existing salary. And so you'll see there in 22-23, we made a contribution toward that increase at 2.5% on those pay grade midpoints. And we have continued to model that both for this year and what we're recommending for next year. Last year we had that tiered approach and focused on that auxiliary and paraprofessional category like I mentioned earlier. So just as a reminder, in what we attempt to achieve in our compensation plans, looking specifically at making sure that our pay structures and our pay plans are in alignment with market values so that we remain competitive. It's not something we have to do every single year, but it is something that we have been committed to do so that we can help our staff, that not only in that recruitment effort, but in retention as well, making sure that the money that we're able to offer to them is competitive with local market. We are recommending your consideration tonight to consider a 2% general pay increase on the midpoint, including some additional adjustments in our pay plans to accommodate that. The cost of that would be $1.7 million to do that standard for all employees. We are also asking for you to consider to continue to offer allow us to offer a zero pay health plan for our employees who are interested in that. Just as a reminder, we have maintained that commitment over many years where whatever the minimum plan costs are through our TRS Active Care. You have contributed that amount to our employees so that there is always a $0 plan available to them. We learn every May what those costs are going to look like, so we don't yet know. Even projected cost increases for the coming year. But based on last year, the increase was $34 and it cost a little over $400,000, around $400,000 to meet that increase. And so we've guesstimated and provided a little bit of capacity if that were to be a little higher, recommending $500,000 to contribute toward that in an effort to maintain a $0 health plan for our employees. I know you've heard from Mr. Brooks on an anticipated adopted budget deficit of $975,000. We've done some things internally to attempt to offset some of that with freezing some positions and some FTEs. We've absorbed some FTEs and we've restructured some things with our pre-K3 delivery to save a little under $700,000 there. And so what we're recommending tonight is your consideration of a $2.5 million commitment to helping provide a pay increase and health insurance cost benefit increase to our staff.
Comments, questions from the board? Because this is on the agenda for action later this evening.
You know, when we had, a couple weeks ago, when we had our workshop session or whatever about this, there was a person sitting at this table that said, if we have an emergency fund, like, why do we have it? Like, why do we maintain a fund balance if we can't use it to help when there's a threat to us? And I agree. I reflected on that a little bit too. So I'm glad that we're able to do the insurance contribution. My question, I appreciate the frugality of sort of freezing some positions and absorbing some things in there. I just want to make sure we don't sort of go overboard there, because I know sometimes the best way to help some of our staff to stick around is to get them help with an additional position or some additional resources. So I just want to make sure we're balancing all of those things in the scales appropriately. I mean, do we feel that's where we've landed, or I don't know, or is there the idea that, you know, hey, over the next 12 months we may want to make some additional adjustments?
My comment to that would be that the adjustments we're making at this point, we're able to make in ways that we don't feel like are undermining the services we're providing to our students. Some of it just has to do with the redesign and utilization of staff and space that we have that's allowed us to sort of collapse some spots. And then the pre-K3 structure, you'll hear more about in just a few minutes, but that is essentially a way of providing us an opportunity to continue to provide a service to our community and our teachers, but in a manner that's a little more economically responsible, is the way I guess I'd put that. So we are trying to take it all into account. We're trying not to do any one thing that creates significant impact to a group and just trim away a little here and there as we go. I don't imagine we would do a whole lot more freezing absorption unless things develop that were opportunistic. You also heard from our demographer last go round that our rate of growth is decreasing a little, and so we're also trying to make sure that we're staffed at the appropriate level. We don't want to understaff, but you don't want to overstaff either. So we continue to refine these numbers as we go.
I think this cost of fund balance makes sense for where we are, especially compared to some other districts around here that are looking at significantly larger deficits. Is that what I've heard? What was Waco ISD's projected deficit I read?
Theirs will not be 14 million. It would be that high if they didn't do some of the very things we're doing, right?
Okay.
And they're doing a lot more of that.
Yeah.
A lot more of that than we are.
Yeah.
You know, I can say as a generally fiscally conservative person, it's you got to swallow a little bit to take to agree to this. But from a business standpoint, looking at the future and what we're going into, to me, this is like in business, investing in what it's going to take to make revenue in the future. Because if we don't have the best teachers, if we can't retain the best staff, it's going to become a highly competitive environment, and that's how we get paid, is by getting kids to come to our schools. And that's only going to get more and more challenging. So I think if we don't do this, we're going to be even more challenged as a district in the years to come.
And I look at this, and I know we talked about it at the workshop, and I think it was Wesley that may have made the comment, but looking at this as more kind of a means to an end, just to kind of get us to the next legislative session. And I'm going to be optimistic. I may be foolish to be so, but I would love to think that we will get an increase to the basic allotment and hopefully a little bit more revenue to where we can absorb some of this in the future. But I certainly think, to Rick's point, this is an investment that we have to make for our teachers. So, I mean, there's really no other option because we have to keep our staff make Midway great. So,
Anybody else?
I just want to say kudos to all the school board members in the past that kept our general fund balance and had the wisdom to have a big rainy day fund and have this money there for us to spend, which we've had to use the last several years many times because of the state budget cuts to our funding. So kudos to all of those people.
Like Mr. Tullis, generally fiscally conservative, I think it's appropriate to do this. I'm glad Jonathan has some optimism that can offset some of my cynical nature and view about what I think the next legislature is likely to do. And frankly, if I were more optimistic, I would push for us to do a little more than we're doing here. My concern with doing that is once you set this, you don't want to tell people a year from now, we got to roll any of this back. That would be horrible. And if the legislature doesn't do something, we're going to do well to be able to sustain this. And if it were any more than this and the legislature doesn't increase our funding, we couldn't sustain it. We'd have to roll it back. And I don't want to be in a position to have to tell our folks that. So, appreciate all the work the administration's put in on this. I know it's taken a lot of time and thought and effort.
We appreciate the high level of collaboration with the board on this. The discussion we had last week was very enriching and helped us quite a bit. And of course, Dr. Knudsen and everyone who works in our office, getting through all this data and creating this presentation. It's a team effort.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Early childhood update, Dr. Odejima and Kim Johnston.
Is the clicker working? Okay, I'll just say click. No. Well, we are excited tonight to present our early childhood update. Tonight, I'm joined by Kim Johnston, who has previously been our coordinator of elementary math curriculum, and then was now our director of elementary curriculum. And next year, because of some retirement in our department, Dr. Sapp is retiring, Kim is going to be the director of all curriculum. So we're excited. She's going to work with elementary and secondary curriculum coordinators. So she, tonight I just get to brag on Kim's work and the work of our teachers because she's facilitated this program this year. So really appreciate her doing that. So thank you. We believe that our early childhood education is very important. In fact, experts tell us that 90% of brain development occurs before 5 years of age. So we have a huge opportunity to make an impact on these early learners in our great Midway programs, and we take that very seriously. Additionally, TEA, our state, feels the same way to the extent that they fund full-day pre-K for our 4-year-olds and half-day for 3-year-olds if those students come from households that are, or the students are educationally disadvantaged, if they have limited English proficiency, if they're homeless, if they're in foster care, if they are a child of one of our serving military individuals, or if they are a child of a first responder who's received the Star of Texas Award. So those students can attend and are eligible for free pre-K in the state of Texas. In addition to that, we also offer paid pre-K to our employee children in both 3K and 4K. The next slide has our classroom numbers in 3K, which we just started 2 years ago, we added that to our 4K classes. In 3K, we now have 5 classrooms on 5 different campuses, and that totals 98 students in our midway programs. And then in 4K, we have classrooms on every elementary campus, and then some of those have 2, so that's about 207 students currently. So just to look at the way those numbers break down, in 3K, about a quarter of those students in the program are employee children. And then the same numbers hold true for the next slide with 4K. It's about 20% of those groups. So we feel like we're serving employees with a great opportunity for their child to come to school and to be able to attend our pre-K, but also have seats available for those students that qualify. So we have lots of things we want to brag on tonight, things that Kim has facilitated and that our teachers have worked hard to take care of. We have an approved effective curriculum that all of the students participate in from Frog Street. The students participate just like their older peers in stations and have differentiated centers, so it can serve students where they are at their particular academic developmental level. So we're excited about the services we can offer them. We also use flexible groupings, so they can do small group and large group. Our early childhood special education program, so we call that ECSE on our campuses. They push in and are able to interact and work with our students in the afternoon. So we're excited about those opportunities for our special ed students as well. Our students don't have an iPad assigned to them, but there are some sets of iPads available in the room so that they can use some of the programs that we purchased that are developmentally appropriate for 3 and 4-year-olds. And then they get to participate in specials classes. So they get to attend PE and music and art and library, some really neat opportunities that a 3 or 4-year-old might not normally be able to do. So along with these great opportunities, we also have some challenges that we're looking to address. The first of that is that our enrollment continues to increase. So we did add 5 classrooms of 3K this 2 years ago, and so those numbers continue to be there. The other piece of the increased enrollment is that the enrollment doesn't stop just at the beginning of the year, so the kids continue to come, and as they continue to come throughout the school year, as long as we have seats available, we allow them to enroll and join us, but sometimes they have to be overflowed to a campus that wouldn't be their normal zoned campus. So we're looking to address some of those challenges so that they could attend the school that they would go on to kindergarten at in a few years. We receive full-day funding from the state for 4K, but we only receive, in the state of Texas, they only fund half-day 3K, but we offer a full-day program. In addition to that, another little piece of the funding consideration is that it is crucial that we maintain a 20-to-2 ratio in these classrooms because they're 4. And so it's 20 students for a teacher and a paraprofessional in the room, which is a great opportunity. 3K really needs more than that. So 3K needs a teacher and 2 paraprofessionals in order to work. In some of our classrooms, we have that ratio, and in some, we do not. We also, a challenge to the program is that we do provide a reduced rate tuition for employees, and then we offer that the second half of the 3K, but it's not funded from the state. The state only pays for a half day, and we offer full day currently. So future plans for 4K, some things to sort of address the challenges and then make sure we can facilitate a great program and be good stewards of the funding that we have. We're looking to realign the pre-K classrooms for next year so that we still have the same number of classrooms. We'll still serve the same number of 4-year-olds, but we're going to change those to different campuses of the students that are primarily zoned in those areas. So it's zones where more children would qualify, and the trends that we've seen over the last several years, which means that we would have 2 classrooms at Castleman, Park Hill, and Woodway, and then the other campuses would still have a single classroom of 4K. And then that's going to help us make sure that, or try to help the feeder pattern for those students so that they can stay in their zoned elementary area. It also balances the 3K and 4K sections, so nobody has an overabundance of classrooms in their campus that are used by this pre-K program, so that we have enough facility space left for our other grade levels that are on those campuses. As far as 3K, we've talked about this plan a lot to try to do the best opportunity to offer the service to our families and to our students.
while also being able to maintain the quality of the program that we have now. So we want to move next year to a half-day pre-K program. This actually opens up twice the seats, but we probably would not have twice the number of students in the program, because it could be that a parent still needs a child to stay for the remainder of the day. So if a 3K child who is eligible for free half-day attended, we would offer a heavily discounted rate for them to stay for the full day to the tune of $300 a month in order to stay full day. With employee pre-K, they pay for it already. We would leave that tuition at $500. It's important that we offer that full day opportunity because we need our employees to work full day. So it wouldn't be a benefit for them if that were not a full day offering. So it's still a very affordable option for Midway employees. This plan also would allow us to be able to fund 2 paraprofessionals in each of those pre-K 3 classrooms, which we think is important for that student-teacher ratio. To put things in context, I haven't paid for daycare in a while, so we called and asked around. You can't readily find daycare rates on anybody's website, but we asked some people who have children in the local daycare centers here, so we would know, are we really competitive? Is it really something that we're offering that is a reasonable rate that would be good for families and good for our own employees? So for the 3K qualifier, we checked both daycares and neighboring districts for all of these categories. For qualifiers, 3K half day is free here. It's free in other neighboring districts because it's funded by the state, just like every other grade level in the school district. And then in daycare, the costs vary, but very often a daycare doesn't have a half day option. You're full day or not because it's the seat in the daycare that you're using. So it's not really as readily available as our half day option would be. For a full day, so that means pre-K is going all day, every day of the month, throughout the school year, it's $300 at Midway for a qualifier, and neighboring districts charge between $347 and $416 based on our website cruising to collect those numbers. And then the daycare rates for a 3-year-old range between $1,000 and then $1,260 in the daycares in our immediate areas. For 4K, the state does fund free full day, so you see that for us and neighboring districts have free full day 4K, and then the rate for 4K is very similar in daycares as it is to the 3K rate. And then finally, that employee, it's the same comparison there, so we really do feel like we are offering a discounted rate to our employees for a really high quality program. And you can see those numbers there. So as far as upcoming dates and things that we're excited about moving forward with the rest of this school year, we are already collecting enrollment forms for our Midway employees students. It's always fun with 3K because you never really know how many you're going to have because we don't have them in school the previous year. So it's always a fun surprise. But the numbers are very close to what we've seen in previous year trends. So we've got around 30 students signed up now that are employees' children. And then we'll keep that open for a time. Eligible pre-K is, when's the window open for next school year for eligible pre-K?
We can start testing kids who qualify for language now.
Okay. So April 1st, testing can begin for that as well. And then on Saturday, April 27th, we're participating in a pre-K awareness day sponsored by Junior League and Region 12. And then on Tuesday, May 14th, we have pre-K and kindergarten roundup. So we should see lots of children coming into our schools on that date. So we're super excited. So I've read the slides, and now Kim Johnson is going to answer any difficult questions.
There you go. That's
Are there any questions for Kim?
Well, one of the continuously talked about problems in our economic development in McLennan County is the lack of daycare options for working families. So as I look at this, and there's a shortage of daycare facilities, I mean, should we look at ramping up here and trying to do more? And I mean, what are our constraints?
Space and certified teachers. So those are challenges for every grade level, so
Sure.
within the same school buildings. Some of the movement that we've done with the pre-K for next year is because we're going to need another kindergarten classroom in that school, and so if we add additional pre-K, we have less for kindergarten.
Gotcha. And then the other thing I look at is, looks like we have opportunity to generate a little more revenue. I mean, what did you guys, what,
Yeah.
have you looked at raising this?
We have.
Because I don't know if you saw our previous discussion, we're a little short.
Well, we are collecting a tuition that we've not had before, so we will have some positive gains on that, but it is something that we could certainly consider is everything's increased. So
It is.
it's almost an expectation that tuitions grow.
How long have we been at these numbers?
What do you think?
The 300 for the pre-K afternoon is new, but $500 for as long as I can remember. It's been $500.
Wow, how long's your memory? That's,
I've been in the department for 6 years. I mean, so we've
Yeah.
been at that 500 for a little bit.
We're trying to walk that balance. So there's kind of two discussions here, and it's the 300 for the second half of the day for the 3K. We've not done that before.
right.
And so we know that if they qualify, that there tend to be other factors that put stress on the family. We want the kids to come. We cannot really continue to do what we're doing without them having some skin in the game financially. So we're trying to find a number that we think is sensitive to both pieces of that. And then 500 our employees are paying, we're trying to stay sensitive to our employees. If we give a 2% GPI, but then we also increase the cost of childcare, we've kind of, so that's really just trying to control that number for the sake of, it's I don't want to call it a hidden benefit, but it's a benefit to our employees to keep that number as low as we can.
What's the reimbursement rate from the state?
It's half day for 3.
Right, it's full day for 4 qualifiers.
With the standard allotment?
Oh, yes, it's basic allotment. It's 6160 like every other kiddo.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
That's what it's-
Yes, sir.
That's right.
I know it's a new group of pre-K threes every year, right? So we don't really know where we're going to land, but do we have any sense of how many of them are going to want to do the full day and pay the extra 300? Because if we have the same numbers we had this year, 75-ish or so that qualify, and they all said they wanted to do it, it's about $200,000 of revenue that we're
That's right.
generating from that. Do we think we're looking at that, or do we think maybe half of them, or do we even know?
I think we estimated on half.
Okay. And from a,
But, and I know like I know that you can connect the dots on this, but if we have half, that means I'm hiring half as much staff.
yeah,
Right? So like we're trying to find that point. And so the questions about numbers and how we landed at places, they did some market research. We tried to think about what made some sense, and we're just trying to find what we think the right landing point is. That it is somewhat scientific, but if you, like, it's not exact. I'll be the first one to admit it, but we feel like this is kind of the point of reasonability where we might keep good high numbers of kiddos involved while still having enough to offset the cost of the additional paraprofessionals and staff.
yeah, and the other thing I'll say, I mean, I know we haven't increased the $500 for staff, but I actually think that's a soft benefit that can sort of outweigh a little, offset our inability to pay them more the way we would like to in some cases. I mean, if you think about it, if, teachers who work here that are likely to have a student that's 4 years old in a pre-K 4, they may be in that 5 to 10 year service range where we're starting to lose competitiveness on salary. So if they know, hey, sticking around here, I can get this for $500, it's just one more little thing that says, we appreciate you, we can't do everything we want, but we can do this. So I kind of like keeping that where it is.
I think the thing is too, when you think about the number of employee children in the program, say you raise the tuition rate by $50.
Not a lot of money.
Right, it's like $3,200.
Yeah, but it's a bigger hit from a brand standpoint.
Yeah. Absolutely something we can consider, but
I think to Rick's question though about what can we do to expand, I mean, I don't know. I know facilities are a problem, but that may be a long-term, 3 to 5 year thing of looking at, hey, what can we do here? Because I got to feel that if there's families that qualify, we want to make sure they stick around in Midway. Maybe there's even families that don't even live in Midway who we'd be willing to come in and pay that, who might decide they want to come here as well.
Part of this is going to be, I think, the way we have to change our thinking from passively just seeing who shows up
Yeah.
to creating programs that bring in students and put put students in seats that then we get reimbursed for from the state.
Being a little more aggressive in that approach. I love it.
Great.
Other
Thank you.
questions from the board? Comments?
Work.
Can you refresh my memory? Do we offer two, like morning pre-K 3 and afternoon pre-K 3 right now? Is it like, can you choose, or the
Full
people
day.
that are
Right now,
coming?
it's full day.
It's their full day, okay. So they stay all day. It's not like other kids are coming, okay.
But in the future, that would be an
It would just
opportunity.
be, it would be morning or afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
then
this-
our people that stay the whole day would pay for that second.
Right,
And it's not year-round. It follows the school schedule.
That's
Great.
that's right. 10 months.
Which is
yeah.
going to be one of the challenges with the general public, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
not having a year-round option.
Right.
Very good.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you all. All right, moving on to consideration consent agenda. We got our minutes from our regular and special called meetings, a number of early graduation requests, action on out-of-district transfers, instructional material allotment for TEAC certification for next school year, science textbook adoption, delegate hiring authority of the superintendent, budget amendments that we've referenced and Wesley talked about, approving the construction delivery method for roofing projects, approving an easement and authorizing superintendent to execute it. Any board member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? If not, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Mr. Alford,
Second.
second by Mr. Green. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. That special time of year, notice of board member continuing education training requirements met. They changed the law a couple of years ago, and we now have to do this at our last meeting before the uniform election date in May. So, and I am required then to read out what board members have completed training, what board members have exceeded, and what board members are deficit. And the following board members have completed the required training: Brad Alford, Rick Tullis. The following board members have exceeded the required hours of training: Jonathan Green, Pam Watts, and Pete Russick. The following board members are deficit in the required hours of training: Susan Vick, Ms. Vick has child abuse prevention, and Colin Witt, who has evaluating and improving student outcomes, EISO for those who like alphabet soup. Completion of the required annual training is an obligation and expectation of any board member under State Board of Education rule. So that's what I'm required to read out. I know these folks will take care of the training. Believe me, with all the training that we're required to do, it's real easy to have one that you miss.
I try, and they want to charge me to do it. We're trying to get that figured out, where I don't have to put the money up front.
My understanding is we're all doing the EISO this summer, right? You're scheduling that? Okay, good.
Yes. So,
That's much more interesting with all of you than me by myself.
exactly. All right, then we've got consideration of and take appropriate action regarding the 24-25 compensation plan. I don't know if there's any further discussion to be had on that, and if not, I would entertain a motion with regard to that plan.
I move we accept the plan.
Motion by Mr. Tullis,
Second.
second by Mr. Witt. No further discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion also carries unanimously. Consideration of personnel, we need to act on a number of contract recommendations. Y'all have an updated list at your place there, folks. Anything you want to say about any of that, Chris?
I would simply say, in the name of retention, I'm excited that we're bringing so many folks back. And in the name of giving credit where credit's due, this list, believe it or not, takes a little work to generate. And so, Sarah Olmstead in Ashley's office does a
By Mr. Witt, any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
I have a question real quick.
Oh, sure.
The resignation not accepted, are we dealing with that in this meeting, or is there anything for us to deal with?
We already dealt with that one. didn't we?
That's the one we've already dealt with? Okay.
That's the person, yeah.
Making sure.
One of the people.
Okay.
Second one.
Good.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That motion also carries unanimously. Anything else on personnel?
Yes, sir. I'm getting a look from Ashley. So resignation not accepted is the most recent? That's the most recent. We've not taken any action.
Oh, we haven't?
The
My apologies.
position has not been officially abandoned yet.
Okay.
Resignation's not been accepted, but we've not lapsed the date where the person's not showing up anymore. We will revisit that when should the opportunity arise.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for
I
giving me the
appreciate
side eye
that.
over here.
Yeah. That said, anything else on personnel?
No, sir.
Do we need to go into closed session on personnel?
If I could have 5 minutes, I can do it pretty quickly.
All right, then we'll take up superintendent's communications and then go into closed session.
So, I want to mention that there has been a pattern of feedback that I've been receiving about the last 10 or 14 days or so, and it all circles around the performance of individuals working in our operations department. So the work that's being done to increase safety on our campuses, Ms. Watley in particular was vocal about her appreciation, has been noticed. And so I have more and more principals reaching out to me via email and text and saying, we can't tell how much we appreciate that these things are getting fixed. And so I forward those to Ken every time I get them and say, thanks, man, keep it up. And so that continues to go well. And even as I say that, Ms. Lippy's nodding her head yes. And she's in one of the newest buildings we have. So maybe the newest building we have. So I think that the work that's being done out of that department and the commitment of this board to those resources is being noticed. The second steady stream of feedback I'm receiving is about Josh Albro, our new Director of Transportation. We had a transportation employee reach out to me specifically expressing thanks to us for hiring him. I'm glad he came, you know. So anyway, we had an issue at Spring Valley Elementary School this week, and Josh was on site helping make sure buses could get in and out in an ever-changing construction area. And then there have been other pieces of feedback that we've received about the great work being done out there. So, you know, we ask y'all to approve hires, and we bring them to you, and I'm not sure that you always hear what I hear. And I wanted to make sure that you knew that those two are getting high accolade from our campus principals as much as anybody. And so I wanted you to know how good a job they're doing.
Good. Appreciate that. So with that said, y'all need a recess or y'all just ready to go into closed session?
There we go.
Okay. So under 551.074, the Texas Government Code, we'll go into closed session on personnel. We will not be coming back out here to take any action
Yes, sir.
on anything, for those of you that might be curious about that. So, closed session time at 8:14.
I guessed 8:10 would be over, and it was close.
Well, you were.
Yeah, kind of go, well, you have to do that chop piece. Anyway, whatever years. I went on to do it. Usually you just click and it goes straight to, it's trying to charge. Take it. Yeah. Well, that's what I'll do, but they're trying to work it where I didn't have to